Hey everyone, today I want to give you one technique to make small talk with people, even if you're not good at making small talk. It requires no knowledge of the person's life and it's highly effective. Let's take a look. So, the technique that you can use to make small talk with someone is coaching, as in personal coaching. Naturally, you're not going to go as deep as an actual personal coach, but let me illustrate what I mean. Coaching usually is talking about the person's future and about their potential. So usually it's a very positive type of conversation and it's about the topic that they love the most, which is themselves. In this type of interaction, the only thing that you need to do is ask questions about how they're going to be, what are they going to become, what are the challenges, and so on. It's coaching at its best. It's a very positive type of conversation, but better than anything else, you require no knowledge of the person's life. Because honestly, you're just asking questions and then using what they give you to ask more targeted questions. So let me give you a specific example. Let's say that you need to make small talk with a startup founder, but for some reason you know nothing about startups, or you just get the feeling that it's not easy to make small talk with this person. What would a personal coach focus on? Their future and their potential. You would ask questions such as, hey, how do you see your startup developing over the next 5 years or 10 years? How do you see the landscape changing both for your startup and the other ones? How do you see yourself changing as a CEO as the startup scales, for example? Or even, what are the biggest obstacles in your opinion, or how can you accelerate that growth? This has a big benefit, which is this type of conversation is almost always positive. There's not a lot of people who would see their future or the potential in a negative lens. And if those people see it in a negative lens, maybe because they're depressed or something else is going on, then you would not fix it with small talk. So it's not a problem with the technique itself, it's just a situation that is very hard to actually control. And what you want to do here is you really want to have a productive conversation. You can go as deep as you want, but the deeper that you go, the better that it is. So for example, you can just ask about how is their startup going to be 5 years from now? That's a generic question and it's good enough for small talk, but you can zoom in on specific issues. Maybe they tell you, hey, one of my co-founders is not that good, I'm not sure they're going to stick around. And you can ask deeper questions, such as, hey, what are the things that you have in common with that co-founder? And what are the sources of the disputes between both of you? Or how can you scale the startup despite this problem? Again, you can go as deep as you want. You're not actually doing personal coaching. But the beautiful thing here is that you're having their best interests at heart by focusing on what is best for them. And they're going to be very interested in the conversation. And they may even develop personally due to it. This technique can almost be summarized as asking the person's opinion on what their future is going to be. And by the way, asking for a person's opinion is always a great persuasion principle because the thing that people love the most is to talk about themselves and to tell you what they think, especially if they have a big ego or especially if they want to be respected. And in this case, you're asking their opinion about their own future and their own life. So it's a double whammy of flattery and massaging their ego and asking for their opinion. You are taking the most interest topic possible for the person, which is themselves, and you are asking the opinion of the person who is the most interesting possible for themselves, which is themselves. So this usually has these two major benefits, which is it makes the conversation very positive because it's focused on the future or the potential, and it gets the person talking about themselves. So they're going to be very interested in the conversation. To illustrate the point of the future and the potential, one thing that easily gets someone happy is planning a future holiday or a future type of success. So if you start planning a holiday that you're going to have, for example, in the summer, just relaxing by a pool or whatever it is, just talking about it makes you feel so good. Even if there is a low probability that it's going to happen, or even if it's far in the future. Because you are focusing on that positive thing, it's just going to be much more interesting to you. And that's exactly the same thing that you're doing with a person. You are asking about their future, their potential, and their positive future. Even if it doesn't really happen, or even if it does have obstacles, you are getting them focused on the successful part of that future. People who are experienced with persuasion and sales will notice that we're using a principle here, which is implementation intention. Or in other words, when you get someone to focus on the details of how to do something, they are much more likely to like it or to do it. So in this case, if you just ask the person, are you going to have a good future or not? Is your startup going to be successful or not? That's one thing. But if you ask about the details, how is your startup going to be successful in 5 years? Are you going to have a lot of clients? Are you going to have a lot of long-term relationships with partners? What type of employees are you going to have? When you focus on those details, the person is going to be a lot more committed in the conversation. And last but not least, realize that you may be sitting on an information goldmine in here, because what happens is when you get someone to talk about their future and their life, they're going to tell you a lot of intimate information about what they need, what they desire, what they love. And this is all information that can be used to later tailor a product or a service to them, or any recommendation. For example, in that case of the startup founder, if they're going to be a possible prospect in the future, and they tell you, for example, that the thing that they want the most is peace of mind, because things are just so turbulent with all of the employees, with the culture, with everything, you know peace of mind is one of their priorities. If you ever want to sell something to this person, you should position it as something that gets them peace of mind. Naturally, don't be manipulative here, okay? Don't just take what their biggest needs are and then position something to that need, okay? What I'm saying is, just make sure to tailor whatever you pitch in the future to those specific needs. But realize that just knowing those needs and those desires is very big persuasion firepower to use later. So that's another benefit of this technique. So in summary, this is why actually doing personal coaching for small talk can be so positive. Because number one, the conversation is going to be positive and the person is going to be focused on their success, but also they're going to be very interested in the conversation because, well, it's about themselves. And also, you obtain a lot of valuable information about their personal life, their needs, their goals, their desires that you can later use to pitch them something or to communicate in a more tailored manner. Naturally, again, we're not actually doing personal coaching because true personal coaching with deep growth focuses on a lot of challenges, hesitations, and roadblocks. And it is painful at times, okay? I don't want any personal coach to think that this is a legitimate persuasion coaching technique because they would kill me, okay? We're just doing a very surface layer type of conversation here, okay? But at the end of the day, what you want to do is focus on their future and their potential. And this will go a long way in making small talk with someone without needing to know anything about their life. You just ask the questions and they are going to tell you. If you've enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing, and remember to check out our channel for more negotiation and communication techniques. Thank you so much for watching.